The ultimatum. The grand hall of the Galactic Consortium glittered like a jewel among the stars, its crystalline architecture designed to inspire awe in visitors from 1,000 worlds. The massive structure orbited the neutral planet Nexus 9, chosen for its perfect position at the junction of 7 major trade routes. Inside, representatives from over 300 sentient species gathered to debate, negotiate, and occasionally threaten one another with the practiced civility that passed for diplomacy among the stars. Humanity was the newest addition to this cosmic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 37 years earlier. Earth's rapid technological advancement after the discovery had alarmed many established consortium members. Too fast, they whispered in private chambers. Too unpredictable. Too dangerous. Alexandra Chen stood alone at the observation deck, watching the distant stars through the transparent alloy that separated the hall's atmosphere from the vacuum of space. At 42, she had the lean build of someone who maintained peak physical condition without advertising it. Her diplomatic uniform, charcoal gray with subtle blue accents, was tailored to downplay her athletic frame. Her black hair was pulled back in a simple knot, and her features, a blend of her Chinese mother and Brazilian father, remained composed as she contemplated the coming negotiation. Madame Chen. The voice belonged to Krelvox, the green-scaled diplomatic attaché assigned to escort her. The High Council is ready to receive Earth's representative. Chen nodded, her dark eyes revealing nothing. Thank you, Krelvox. I hope today's discussions will be productive. The Shivan's facial ridges twitched, a sign of discomfort among his species that Chen had learned to recognize. The Council is eager to resolve the current situation. Situation. Such a diplomatic word for what was essentially an ultimatum delivered to Earth 3 standard weeks ago. Surrender your advanced weapons technology or face isolation from all consortium trade routes and resources. Chen followed the Shivan through gleaming corridors where delegates from across the galaxy exchanged glances ranging from curious to hostile. Humanity's rapid rise had made many uncomfortable. In less than 4 decades, Earth had gone from a single-planet civilization to a budding interstellar power, with colonies on 7 worlds and technology that increasingly rivaled species who had been spacefaring for millennia. The council chamber doors slid open, revealing a semicircular room with 13 elevated platforms. Upon each sat a representative of the consortium's ruling species, looking down at the simple podium where Chen would stand. The symbolism wasn't subtle. Earth's representative, small and alone, subject to the judgment of the galactic elite. High Counselor Tigos Rem, a Nellery with iridescent skin that shifted between deep purple and midnight blue, spoke first. Alexandra Chen, representative of Earth, you stand before this council to address the matter of your species' military expansion. Chen bowed slightly, the precise degree of deference calculated to show respect without submission. High Counselor, esteemed members of the council, I come seeking understanding and cooperation, not confrontation. Yet confrontation seems to follow wherever humanity extends its reach, said Counselor Irixka, the insectoid Vesperi representative, whose compound eyes gleamed under the chamber's lights. 6 of your new colony worlds border Vesperi territory. Each bristles with what you call defensive installations, but our intelligence identifies as planet-killer weaponry. Chen smiled politely. Counselor, Earth has been transparent about its defensive capabilities. The installations you reference are primarily shield generators with limited offensive capacity, exactly as we've documented in 16 separate technological disclosures. Disclosures we've found to be selectively informative, said Counselor Silara of the crystalline Lamidians. Her voice rang like wind chimes, beautiful but cold. Our deep scan probes detected energy signatures inconsistent with your technical specifications. Chen's expression didn't change, but she noted the admission. Deep scan probes in Earth territory were a clear violation of consortium law. Perhaps your probes were calibrated for different technological paradigms. Human engineering often appears unorthodox to other species. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Chen had acknowledged the illegal surveillance without directly accusing them. A diplomatic warning shot. High Counselor Tavos Rem's skin darkened to deep indigo, a sign of irritation. Representative Chen, let us dispense with the verbal sparring. The consortium has voted. Earth must surrender its advanced military technology and submit to oversight of its colonial expansion, or face immediate sanctions. That would violate Section 7 of the Consortium Charter, Chen replied smoothly. New member species cannot be required to surrender sovereign technological achievements unless they pose an immediate existential threat to the galactic community. We have determined they do, said Erikska, mandibles clicking. The vote was unanimous. Chen raised an eyebrow. Unanimous among the High Council, perhaps, but not among the General Assembly, where such matters should rightly be decided. The emergency provisions of the Charter allow the High Council to act unilaterally in matters of galactic security, said Silara, her crystalline form refracting light in agitated patterns. Only with evidence of imminent threat, Chen countered. Earth has engaged in no aggressive actions against any consortium member. Tavos Rem leaned forward. It is not what humanity has done, Representative Chen. It is what you are capable of doing. Your species advanced from atmospheric flight to faster-than-light travel in less than a century, a developmental leap unprecedented in our records. You've modified our technologies in ways we didn't anticipate and developed weapons systems that our scientists struggle to understand. Innovation is not a crime, High Counselor. It is when coupled with humanity's historical propensity for violence, said Erikska. Our cultural analysts have studied your species extensively. Your planet's history is written in blood. For most of your existence, you've spent more resources killing each other than advancing your civilization. Chen nodded. We don't deny our difficult past. But it's precisely because of that history that we value peace so highly now. Earth united before reaching the stars. We've had no planetary conflicts for over 70 years. A commendable but brief period of restraint, said Silara. Too brief for us to trust with the power your species now wields. Chen looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes, or sensory organs, of each council member. I understand your concerns. I truly do. But what you're asking is impossible. Earth will not surrender its right to self-defense, especially when that demand comes from powers that have just admitted to illegal surveillance of our territories. The chamber fell silent. Chen had called their bluff, openly acknowledging the violation of sovereign space. Tavos Rem's skin pulsed with dark energy patterns. Perhaps we should discuss this matter privately, Representative Chen. The public forum may not be conducive to frank exchanges. Chen recognized the threat beneath the diplomatic phrasing. I'm always open to private discussions, High Counselor, though I prefer them to remain diplomatic. Of course, said Tavos Rem, rising from his seat. Councilors Erikska and Silara will join us. The rest of this session is adjourned. The other council members filed out, leaving only the 3 senior councilors and Chen in the chamber. As the doors sealed, Chen noted the subtle shift in atmosphere, the slight change in air pressure, the almost imperceptible hum that suggested electronic countermeasures had been activated. No recordings, said Erikska. No witnesses. Now we can speak plainly. I prefer proper diplomatic channels, said Chen, but I'm willing to be flexible. Tavos Rem descended from his platform, his tall, willowy form gliding across the floor until he stood uncomfortably close to Chen. Earth has 2 choices, Representative. Surrender your advanced weapons technology willingly, or we will take it by force. Chen didn't step back. That would be a serious mistake, Counselor. Silara laughed, the sound like breaking glass. You think Earth could withstand the combined might of the consortium. Your species is brave, but foolish. Not foolish, Chen corrected. Just well prepared. We anticipated this scenario. Your preparations are inadequate, said Erikska, moving to flank Chen from the left while Silara approached from the right. The consortium has resources you cannot imagine. Perhaps, Chen conceded. But sometimes it's not about resources. It's about leverage. Tavos Rem smiled, revealing teeth too sharp for a supposedly herbivorous species. You have no leverage here, human. This chamber is sealed. No communications can penetrate its walls. Your ship is currently being detained for inspection, and you are alone. Chen sighed. That's where you're wrong, counselor. I'm never alone. The lights flickered momentarily, too briefly for most species to notice, but Chen recognized the signal. Earth's quantum entanglement communicators had received her emergency beacon. Help was coming, but she needed to buy time. Even if you kill me, the consortium cannot defeat Earth, Chen said calmly. Our defensive capabilities are greater than you know. We don't want to kill you, said Silura. We simply require your biometric access to certain Earth defense systems. After that, you'll be released, eventually. Torture, then, Chen said, her voice flat. How disappointing. The consortium presents itself as the pinnacle of civilization, yet at the first challenge, you resort to barbarism. Erixka's compound eyes glittered. We prefer to think of it as pragmatism. Species rise and fall in the galactic order. Humanity's time to fall has come, sooner than most, but inevitable nonetheless. You should know, Chen said quietly, that I am not merely a diplomat. Tavos Rem laughed. Yes, our intelligence suggests you had some military training in your youth. Impressive for a human, perhaps, but... His words cut off as Chen moved, faster than any human should be able to move. Her hand struck a precise point on the Nellari's neck, and he collapsed, paralyzed but conscious. Erixka lunged forward, chitinous limbs extended. But Chen was no longer where she had been. She flowed around the attack like water, one hand reaching into her sleeve and emerging with a small device that emitted a high-pitched sound. The Vesperi counselor dropped to the floor, his sensory systems overloaded. Silara backed away, crystalline form vibrating in alarm. What are you? Chen straightened her uniform. I am Alexandra Chen, Earth's diplomatic representative. She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. But before that, I was known by another name in certain circles, the Shadow. Recognition flashed across Silara's faceted features. The operative who dismantled the Proxima Prime terrorist cell single-handedly. That was supposed to be a myth. Myths often have a basis in reality, Chen said, approaching the Lumidian counselor. Now shall we discuss a more equitable arrangement between Earth and the consortium? Or would you prefer to join your colleagues on the floor? The lights in the chamber suddenly went out completely, plunging them into darkness broken only by the natural luminescence of Silara's crystalline form. I should mention, Chen said, her voice calm in the darkness, that the rest of my team has just arrived. The Reckoning. When the emergency lights finally activated, bathing the council chamber in a dim red glow, Counselor Silara found herself facing not just Alexandra Chen, but 5 additional humans who had somehow bypassed the chamber's supposedly impenetrable security. They wore no military uniforms or insignia, just the same unassuming diplomatic attire as Chen, yet they moved with the coordinated precision of predators. What is the meaning of this? Silara demanded, her crystalline form vibrating with frequencies that expressed both outrage and fear. This is a violation of diplomatic protocol. Chen raised an eyebrow. As opposed to the attempted abduction and torture of an accredited ambassador. Interesting perspective, Counselor. On the floor, Tavos Rem was regaining limited movement, his iridescent skin cycling through colors of pain and humiliation. You've committed an act of war against the consortium, he managed to say, though his voice lacked its former authority. No, Chen corrected firmly. We've responded to an act of war initiated by you. There's a difference. She nodded to one of her team, a woman with close-cropped silver hair who immediately moved to secure the chamber doors. Lieutenant, ensure our privacy remains uninterrupted. Already done, Commander, the woman replied. Quantum interference field is active. As far as station security knows, this is still a private diplomatic meeting. Chen turned back to the counselors. Now let's have that frank discussion you wanted. But first, she gestured to a man with dark skin and eyes that missed nothing. Dr. Okafor, please ensure the counselors are comfortable but contained. The man nodded and approached Ericska, who was still disoriented from the sonic attack. From his pocket, he produced a small device that, when activated, created a shimmering energy field around the insectoid counselor. A portable containment field, Chen explained, as similar fields were deployed around Tavos Rem and Silara, developed by Earth scientists based on consortium technology, with significant improvements, of course. Impossible, Silara whispered. Our best engineers couldn't imagine the modifications we made. Chen finished for her. That's been the consistent error in the consortium's assessment of humanity. You judge our capabilities by your standards, your patterns of development, your technological evolution. We don't follow your rules because we don't think like you. Chen pulled up a chair and sat facing the three counselors, her posture relaxed but alert. Let me tell you what's going to happen now. First, you're going to listen. Then, you're going to make a choice. Tavos Rem's colors stabilized into a dark blue of controlled anger. We don't negotiate with. This isn't a negotiation, Chen interrupted, her voice sharp. That opportunity passed when you planned to torture me for access codes. This is me explaining reality to you. She leaned forward, hands clasped. Humanity knew from our first contact with the consortium that this day might come. We studied your history, your politics, your tactics. We saw how you've systematically suppressed emergent species that showed too much potential, too much independence. Ericska's mandibles clicked in agitation. We maintained galactic stability. Without our guidance, chaos would reign. Without your control, you mean? Chen corrected. You've ruled unchallenged for so long that you've forgotten the difference between order and domination. She stood and walked to the observation window, gazing out at the stars before continuing. When Earth was invited to join the consortium, we accepted with open eyes. We knew it was partly to monitor us, to keep us where you could see us. We played along because it served our purposes too. And what purposes were those? Silara asked, her crystalline voice brittle with tension. Chen turned, her expression grave. To assess whether the consortium could be trusted as a true partner in galactic affairs, or whether it was simply another empire disguising its dominance behind pretty words about peace and cooperation. She sighed. Today has given us our answer. One of Chen's team approached, a tablet-like device in his hands. Commander, it's time. Chen nodded and took the device, activating a holographic display that expanded to fill the center of the chamber. It showed a star map of consortium space, with hundreds of small points of light pulsing in synchronization. What you're seeing, Chen explained, are the locations of Earth's defensive assets throughout consortium territory. The three counselors stared in disbelief. Silara was the first to understand. Those are in our core systems, our homeworlds. Yes, Chen confirmed. For the past 20 years, while you've been studying us, we've been placing quantum-linked defensive systems throughout your territories, some disguised as commercial satellites, others as debris, still others using cloaking technology you believed impossible for our developmental stage. Tavos Rem's skin had gone pale. This is a bluff. You couldn't have penetrated our security so completely. Chen tapped the display, zooming in on the Nellery homeworld. The device 3 meters beneath your planet's primary defense control center would disagree, Counselor. It's about the size of my thumb, but it could disable your planetary shields in 2.7 seconds. She moved to another location on the map. And here, orbiting the Vesperi Royal Hatchery, is another. And here, within the crystalline matrix of Lumidian Prime's communication hub. Each point she touched expanded to show detailed schematics of the installations and their capabilities. Why are you showing us this? Ericska demanded, compound eyes fixed on the hologram of his species' most sacred site. Because unlike the consortium, Chen said, Earth believes in informed consent. You're about to make the most important decision in your political careers, possibly in the history of your species. You should do so with complete information. She deactivated the hologram and returned to her seat. Here are your options. First, you can continue on your current path. Attempt to subjugate Earth. Try to seize our technology by force. If you choose this option, those defensive systems will activate. You would destroy civilian targets. Silara asked, genuine horror in her voice. That would make you the monsters we feared. They're not weapons, Counselor, Chen clarified. They're disruptors. They wouldn't harm your people, just your ability to wage war. Your defense systems, your military communications, your fleet coordination networks would all go dark simultaneously. Your technological advantage would vanish overnight. Chen let that sink in before continuing. Your second option is to recognize Earth as an equal partner in galactic affairs. Not a junior member to be controlled, not a threat to be contained, but a full and independent ally. The consortium has never, Tevos Rem began, never faced a species that entered space already prepared for the worst aspects of interstellar politics. Chen finished for him. We come from a world that knew war intimately before it knew peace. We hoped for the best from the galactic community, but prepared for the worst. She stood again, pacing slowly before the contained counselors. Humanity doesn't want conflict with the consortium. We genuinely believe in cooperation, in the exchange of ideas and cultures, in a galaxy where different species can thrive together. But we will not be subjugated, controlled, or managed like an unruly child. The chamber fell silent as the counselors processed Chen's words. It was Silara who finally spoke, her crystalline voice subdued. Even if what you say is true, even if we believe you, the High Council cannot simply reverse its decision without losing credibility. Chen smiled. We've thought of that too, Dr. Okafor. The man stepped forward again, activating another holographic display. We've prepared a joint statement announcing a breakthrough in diplomatic relations. It frames today's events as a successful negotiation, resulting in a new understanding between Earth and the consortium. You save face, we get recognition of our sovereignty, and the galaxy continues spinning. Ericska's compound eyes narrowed. And if we agree to this arrangement, what guarantees do we have that these devices will be removed? None initially, Chen answered honestly. Trust must be earned on both sides. But as proof of our good faith, we'll provide you with the locations of 20% of our installations immediately. As relations normalize, that percentage will increase. Tevos Rem's skin had settled into a thoughtful purple hue. And our alternatives are limited, I presume. Extremely, Chen confirmed. But I hope you'll choose cooperation, not because you lack options, but because it's genuinely better for everyone. Earth doesn't seek to dominate the consortium. We simply refuse to be dominated. She nodded to her team, and the containment fields around the counselors deactivated. Consider carefully. We'll give you privacy to discuss. Chen and her team withdrew to the far side of the chamber, leaving the three counselors to confer among themselves in hushed, urgent tones. The discussions lasted nearly an hour, with occasional glances toward the humans who waited patiently, showing neither anxiety nor impatience. Finally, Tevos Rem approached Chen, his posture formal, but no longer threatening. The High Council, or at least its representatives present, is prepared to consider your proposal, with certain conditions. Chen nodded. I'm listening. Verification protocols for the removal of these devices as relations progress, joint oversight of technological exchanges, and a formal structure for addressing future misunderstandings before they escalate to this level. Reasonable requests, Chen acknowledged. We can work out the details in proper diplomatic sessions. Silara joined them, her crystalline structure now glimmering with calmer patterns. There is one thing I don't understand, Representative Chen, or perhaps I should say, Commander. If you had these capabilities all along, why wait until now? Why allow the situation to reach this point? Chen's expression softened slightly. Because, Counselor, humanity truly wanted the consortium to accept us as partners without coercion. We hoped that time and demonstrated goodwill would overcome fear and suspicion. She sighed. We still hope that's possible, just with clearer boundaries. Erixka had remained silent, but now he stepped forward, mandibles working thoughtfully. Your species is unlike any we've encountered in 12,000 years of consortium history. You prepare for war while pursuing peace with equal determination. It's who we are, Chen said simply. Our history taught us that peace undefended rarely survives, but strength without restraint becomes tyranny. We walk the line between. The insectoid counselor's compound eyes studied her. An uncomfortable balance. But a necessary one, Chen replied. Now shall we draft that joint statement? I believe we all have superiors to answer to. As her team began working with the counselors on the diplomatic language that would reframe the day's events, Chen stepped away to the observation window. The stars beyond seemed unchanged, yet everything had shifted. Humanity's place in the galactic order was no longer that of a newcomer to be managed, but a power to be reckoned with, for better or worse. One of her team joined her at the window, his voice low. Will it hold, Commander, this arrangement? Chen watched the distant light of Earth's sun, barely visible among the stellar multitude. For a time. Long enough, I hope, for both sides to learn that cooperation isn't just the moral choice, it's the practical one too. And if they decide otherwise. Chen's reflection in the transparent alloy showed no emotion, but her voice carried the weight of certainty. Then they'll learn why Earth's diplomatic corps recruits from its special forces. She turned away from the stars. But today, Lieutenant, today we choose to believe in diplomacy. As she rejoined the discussions, Alexandra Chen, diplomat and shadow warrior, allowed herself a moment of hope that the balance she had struck would hold, that the consortium would adapt, and that humanity's path among the stars might yet be one of partnership rather than conflict. But she knew, as all effective diplomats must, that hope works best when backed by strength, and Earth, whatever else might be said of it, had never lacked for strength.